Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm Dave Furtado.
And I'm meteorologist Jefferson Donovan.
And welcome to KEPR Quick, your latest local news and weather commercial free in 15 minutes or less. We're going to jump right over to weather, though, because on the heels of a chillier start to the summer, we're seeing temperatures ramp back up for the day.
Yeah, today is going to be quite warm, warmer than anything we have seen in the summertime season so far. Keep in mind, summer officially started on Friday. We did see a very cool Saturday and abnormally cool temperatures even on Sunday. Yesterday, temperatures were seasonal, but today is when we are going to see highs back into the 90s for many of us, upper 80s to mid 90s around the forecast area on this Tuesday. Now, what I will say is that if you spent time outside yesterday, you may have noticed a bit of haze in the sky. And as we take a look at the satellite from yesterday afternoon, you'll see what kind of looks like wispy clouds around much of our viewing area. That is, in fact, smoke that was pouring down from big wildfires in Alaska and a very big wildfire burning in North Chelan County. Now, we will continue to deal with some haze and smoke impacts through the day. We will take a look at your haze and smoke forecast and your temperature forecast more coming up.
Thanks, Jefferson. We begin this morning in Toppenish. A man is scheduled to be sentenced later this year after pleading guilty last week to killing a pedestrian in a motorcycle accident. David Leonard Irvin was charged with vehicular homicide and reckless driving on October 2nd, 2021. On June 17th, he pled guilty to an amended charge of vehicular homicide and disregard for other safety. Irvin was riding his motorcycle from the Little Dutch Tavern to All-Star Towing to pick up a tow truck for a call just before 8 p.m. on October 2nd. At the intersection of East Maple Avenue, a vehicle stopped to let Timmy DeWitt cross. When Irvin hit him in the intersection, DeWitt was taken to what is now Multicare Memorial Hospital, where he died from his injuries. Police stated Irvin passed the field sobriety test but did not have a motorcycle endorsement on his license. Irvin is set to be sentenced on September 24th. A Toppenish man is headed to prison for more than a decade for possessing a large amount of drugs. Jose Bautista Andrade pled guilty to possessing 400 grams of fentanyl with the intent to distribute, but court documents say he had a lot more than that. When his home in the 100 block of North Beach Street and storage unit in Zillow were searched, investigators found 23 pounds of meth and 5 pounds of fentanyl pills. They also found 4 guns in his apartment, along with 61 pounds of meth in the storage unit. Andrade was sentenced to 11 years in prison. And West Benton Fire and Rescue had their hands full when a trench collapsed on a construction project, trapping multiple people under dirt. Take a look at these pictures posted from the scene by 509 Media. This happened just before lunch on Sunday in the area of Kennewick. West Benton Fire and Rescue wrote on their Facebook page that thanks to the swift and coordinated response of local emergency teams, all victims were safely extricated and transported to medical care. The city of Prosser hitting the contractor with a stop work order until the violations are addressed and fixed. Prosser Emergency Medical Services, Prosser Police, and the Lifelight Network helped with the rescue effort. And with that, let's jump right over to meteorologist Jefferson Donovan. Jefferson, we're going to see a whole lot of red on the map today, and maybe even again, especially as we go into next week.
That's right. Today is going to be quite warm. We're going to see a brief cool down towards the end of this week with some very hot weather on the way for next week. Let's take a look right now at your weather for today and moving forward. For today, we are going to be looking at high temperatures around the forecast area well into the 90s. In fact, for the Tri-Cities today, we will be looking at highs into the mid-90s. For the Yakima Valley, low to mid-90s are going to be on tap for this Tuesday. Upper 80s nearing 90 degrees in the Kittitas Valley, with low to mid-90s today for the Blue Mountain foothills. Now, what I will say is that most of us today are going to see sunshine through early this afternoon, but for the Yakima and Kittitas Valleys specifically, we are going to see increasing clouds late this afternoon through this evening. Now, if you spent time outside yesterday, you may have noticed a layer of haze and smoke in the sky, and unfortunately through the day today, we are going to continue to deal with some of those haze and smoke concerns. The smoke is mostly from very big fires burning in Alaska, but there's also a fire in North Chelan County that is producing smoke coming into the inland northwest, or coming into our viewing area. As we go into tomorrow, because of a westerly surge in wind, we are going to see clearer skies as we go through Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. So for today, anticipate another hazy day, or at least some haze in the sky on this Tuesday. Haze in the sky to start tomorrow, but then we will be looking at those clearing skies tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow evening. Now let's take a look at the next 2 days after today. On Wednesday, we will be looking at partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies. Temperatures tomorrow will be a bit cooler than today, with most of us in the mid to upper 80s, although low 80s will stick around in the Kittitas Valley. On Thursday, We're going to see even cooler temperatures ranging anywhere from the upper 70s to mid 80s. Now, the bigger story for tomorrow and Thursday won't necessarily be the temperatures, but it will be breezy winds for the Tri-Cities, Yakima and Walla Walla. On Wednesday, we could see gusts as high as 30 miles per hour, 35 mile per hour gusts tomorrow for Pendleton, with 40 mile per hour gusts in the Kittitas Valley, and conditions will stay pretty breezy for Thursday. Now, as we just showed you, temperatures are going to take a bit of a step back as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, but there is some very high heat on the way for next week that we will talk about more as we go into the coming days. But for right now, I'm going to throw it back to Dave.
Thanks, Jefferson. Health leaders with the Benton and Franklin Health District are warning the community about potential harmful toxins in the Columbia River. They launched their seasonal watering program yesterday where they test for anything harmful in any of the local rivers. The health district places signs along the river to let people know about toxin levels before they or their pets get in the water. This program started after 2 dogs got sick after swallowing water from the Columbia River, and health leaders say dogs are at a high risk when it comes to these toxic algae.
I don't want people to be afraid of the rivers. I just want them to be familiar with this issue. And like I say, it doesn't always occur. That's why we try and sample the river. But I would say if you have dogs and you like to take your dogs down to the river, I would be quite cautious, especially later in the summer when the water temperatures are higher.
Health workers will be testing water from the river in different areas twice a month before heading to any river. You can check the Benton Franklin Health District's website for the results. We have a link to that site up on our website, KEPRTV.com. And work began yesterday on the project to construct new water and wastewater systems in the northeast and south central areas of the city of Yakima. The northeast area work will include areas along North 3rd Street, North 4th Street, East Q, East O Streets, and Oak Street. South Central area improvements will include South 10th Avenue and Woodland Avenue. The project is expected to be completed by February 2026. Traffic control devices will be put in place during construction to direct traffic around the most immediate areas of the work. All of the details are up on our website, KIMATV.com. Home Care Services, a program for Senior Life Resources Northwest, has purchased a building in Ellensburg to serve as its new permanent location. The move is intended to support the program's logistical needs and accommodate future growth. The program will provide non-medical in-home assistance to individuals in Kittitas County, including support with daily tasks and caregiver relief. Services will be available throughout the week and tailored to client needs. A ribbon-cutting event is planned with a date to be announced soon. And switching gears this morning, 14 families are celebrating being reunited with their family members. Yesterday was Yakima County's 14th annual unification celebration. The families were honored for their journey through the child welfare system and back to reunification. KIMA's Anissa Williams introduces us to one person, one dad, who's sharing the story of his fight to become a father again.
It's common in the Yakima Valley, the pandemic with fentanyl and drugs and whatnot. And I was a part of that cycle, and a lot of people think they can't get out of it, but you know, it's what the heart wants.
Adrian Leos wasn't always the parent he wanted to be. Years ago, incarceration kept him away from his newborn daughter. For over a year, he had no contact with her, but behind bars, something shifted.
When I did get incarcerated, my eyes opened up and I realized what I had. I started calling numbers. Even though I was inside, I always wrote letters, made phone calls. If I was my father's son, I would have got my daughter back.
Adrian served about 3.5 years. During that time, he stayed connected however he could.
At first, it was rough because my daughter would be a little scared at times to visit with me, but over time we gained a bond that right now is unbreakable. And like I said in my speech earlier, my daughter talks proudly of me. My name is Adrian, like my dad, and so like that's my biggest motivation is my daughter. Some of our best memories was when she would come visit me in prison, and so what I'm hoping is that she can understand that if my dad could come out of his circumstances and do what he's done for us, she can move mountains, and she can also be an advocate or just a helping hand. Or I'm trying to raise her kindly.
But the journey wasn't easy. He remembers hearing his daughter call other people mom and dad. What kept him going was the belief that she was worth fighting for.
Letting her know that she's loved, and even if you gotta love her from behind bars, through a telephone, through a letter, Any way that you can show your love, show it. People change, and like I said, if you knew my background, you wouldn't think this would be happening today. And I hope the system does get better in how they help people, and just everybody deserves a chance.
KIMA's Anissa Williams, thank you. And Adrian is focused on raising his daughter with kindness and helping others believe that no matter the past, change is always possible. Local nonprofit programs that benefit kids in our community are getting a helping hand thanks to the United Way of Benton and Franklin counties. Applications opened yesterday for the United Way's community grant cycle. Leaders say while funding priorities will be different than years past, they're hopeful to dole out 7 to 10 grants up to $15,000 apiece.
Since 2019, we've given away about $2.9, almost $3 million across the community in grants. This year, we are focusing solely on smaller nonprofits, on really helping support the infrastructure and the small nonprofits.
Now, the application window for the grant funding will be open until July 15th. For more information, including eligibility requirements, you can head over to our website, KEPRTV.com. And finally, the Findlay School District will officially move to a 4-day school week beginning this fall. The Washington Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction recently signing off on the plan. Under the new schedule for the 2025-26 school year, Findlay students will attend class Monday through Thursday with Fridays off. However, the school day will be from 8 a.m. to 3:10 p.m. for elementary students and 7:55 a.m. to 3:25 p.m. for middle and high schoolers. Superintendent Brian Long says the 4-day school week is part of the district's strategy to address a $1 million budget shortfall. It's expected to generate savings in areas like substitute staffing, utility usage, and food services. The approval extends through the 2027-28 school year, and the school board will study the impact of the schedule change before potentially requesting an extension. And that does it for us. Thank you for watching this episode of Keeper Quick. For more local news and weather, you can head over to our websites, Keeper and KIMATV.com, as well as our Facebook pages. But while you're here, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with our latest mini newscasts Monday through Friday. Have a terrific Tuesday, everybody.